350 Legend versus 7.62 by 39. Which one will win on this episode of Ultimate Barrier Testing? The rules are simple. 4 targets, each worth 25 points, winner takes all. Whichever cartridge ends up with the most points at the end is the winner. This is the Uni mount, short for universal mount, because we're going to be mounting all of our barrier targets in there besides the mild steel. That's what Steel Sled 4.1 is over there for. Everybody say hi. Before we do any testing, how about we check out the target for the first round? This is a piece of lumber, but not just any piece of lumber, it's my piece of lumber. No, I'm just kidding. This is a pressure treated 6x6 piece of lumber, and as you can see, it is a pretty massive piece of lumber. So let's see how these cartridges perform on this one. Let's put it in the Uni sled real quick. So basically what I'm gonna do is shoot 2 of each cartridge at this piece of lumber to make sure that both can go through this piece of lumber. That way we know for sure that we have a fair test. But let's get that 3/4 inch piece of plywood, set it up, and we'll be ready to go. Let's get a new piece of 3/4 inch plywood. There we go, that's looking better. 7.62 by 39's up first. Let's get to it. Well, we're already off to a great start. It looks like I pretty much centered this post right here, and as you can see, the fragments of the bullet that came off right there are absolutely devastating. But let's see what it did to the block itself. So the bottom one went through, but obviously that one that got shredded up definitely did not go through. I don't know, I guess I better do one more shot. And the bottom one did end up going through the 3/4 inch piece of plywood as well. One more shot it is. Okay, so there's the last round of the 7.62 by 39, and I just went ahead and shot the 2 350 Legend rounds as well as a couple sight-in rounds. It's shooting a little low, but anyway, let's see what happened to the back here. Okay, so it absolutely destroyed the back. It looks like all 3 of those rounds went through, but let's see what actually happened. It looks like 2 of the rounds came in here, and I don't think that 350 Legend round actually penetrated the 3/4 inch piece of plywood. That's pretty crazy. I think we may need to try that again. Let's try one more round on a fresh piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Okay, that one was right on the edge, and it looks like it tore its way through. Okay, yeah, it definitely went through the 3/4 inch piece of plywood that time. I don't know what happened on those last shots. Maybe the bullet deviated a lot or something, I don't know. Anyway, we'll go ahead and call that one a draw, although it might be leaning a little bit more towards the 7.62 by 39, but we'll just call it a draw. Up next, we gotta flip this bad boy around. Ooh. Okay, there we go. We are ready for the next target, I believe. And round number 2's target is an 8-inch thick box filled completely with sand. If you've seen any of my other previous testing videos involving this sand box, you know that it is really rough on bullets, so we'll have to see how it does on these cartridges. But let's get a 3/4 inch piece of plywood in there, and then I think we'll be ready. Okay, pretty decent shot placement. Now let's turn it around and see what we get. Absolutely nothing on the backside. I don't think it popped out anywhere else either. That 7.62 by 39 just is not impressing me on steel at all. On sand, I should say. All right, we should be good to go for the 350 Legend. Pretty much the exact same spot as the 7.62 by 39. Now let's turn it around and see what we get. Absolutely nothing. Guys, these cartridges are both pitiful, or at least the bullets that I'm using in these cartridges are pitiful for sand. You would think Full Metal Jackets for sure would go through this. It wasn't even worth turning the Uni-Sled around for that, because now I have to turn it around again. Okay, there we go. Well, at least I didn't have to use the 3/4 inch piece of plywood. That was nice of those cartridges. I guess all that's left to do is throw the wings on there for the next target. These are solid concrete blocks, listed as 2 inches thick, but they're actually 1 3/4 inches thick. Anyway, concrete is super rough on bullets, so we'll have to see how these cartridges do, but let's go ahead and get started. Keep in mind that this concrete is not reinforced concrete. Definitely pretty eventful, but let's see what happened to the 3/4 inch piece of plywood. Well, I see a piece of the jacket in there. I guess that one made it to the 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and it looks like it actually cracked the back, but nothing actually came out the back. The spalling or the fragmentation or whatever this is also did a pretty healthy number on this plywood as well, but nothing came through. Honestly, I'm thinking that the 350 Legend might do a little bit better than that, but there's really only one way to find out. That one seemed to do a pretty healthy number on the block as well. Let's check out the 3/4 inch piece of plywood though. Almost looks identical to the 7.62 by 39. It didn't split the back like the 7.62 by 39 though, but I think this one's a draw, if not favoring the 7.62 by 39. We'll call it a draw though. Round 4, mild steel. This one is a 1/4 inch piece of mild steel, so let's see how these cartridges handle it. Okay, there we go. I'm guessing that both of these cartridges are going to be pretty similar on mild steel, but let's see. As usual, a nice clean hole for the 7.62 by 39. What did I tell you? Almost identical to the 7.62 by 39, except it's a much larger hole. Think you know what that means though? You are right, 3/8 of an inch of mild steel. This one is probably going to be a struggle bus for both of these cartridges, but we'll have to go ahead and see. Nice and tight. Well, I hate to tell you, but the struggle bus is back in town because the 7.62 by 39 obviously did not go through that 3/8 inch mild steel plate. On to the 350 Legend though. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is getting off the struggle bus today because nobody made it through 3/8 of an inch of mild steel. As you could see, the 350 Legend definitely did not make it through. Looks to be almost identical to the 7.62 by 39, so I think you know what that means. It's time to grind. Guys, the 350 Legend came in at 240 thousandths and the 7.62 by 39 came in at 238 thousandths. This one is too close to call. The judges have made their final decision on this round of ultimate barrier testing, and the winner is the 7.62 by 39. And remember, don't let ballistics drive you bananas.